Hi everyone. It's been about a week since I last posted an update. So I wanted to just give you guys an update on some thoughts I've been having, and then um, like talk a little bit about gaining related things. So basically, this past week I had like the coolest, encouraging experience. Um, and I really hope to continue it. It was awesome. It was like something out of a fucking like novel. um, but it was really cool. And that experience got me really thinking about where am I going with all of this, like gaining stuff. And so this is going to be a little bit of a talking video, but if you're interested in encouraging me or you want to see me grow, this video may um, give you a little insight on what I need as far as a gainer to continue that to happen. Um, so basically, and some of you probably know this. Um, as a gainer and as someone who wants to be big, there are medical issues that can come with this. Now, some of those medical issues you can power through. Things like, you know, orthopedic related things, things like, you know, cholesterol, things like, even some of the heart related stuff you can power through with like medication. Um, but the thing that is kind of an issue for a lot of people really comes down to diabetes. And diabetes, what happens with that is that everybody's familiar with it. It was like, you have insulin, like your body's not making enough insulin, doesn't take the glucose, you get really sick if you don't, you know, if your body can't absorb the glucose or food that you're eating, and so you have high blood sugar, and that can cause issues such as blindness, amputation, kidney shutdown, yada yada yada. And the list goes on. So a lot of people that I've talked to have been like, well, if you want to gain, you just kind of have to power through it. Um, I totally get that. And honestly, I sounds crazy, but I would try to deal with that and try to mitigate that and work with it if that allowed me to still gain. So for example, like even though like I would be eating a bunch of crap, as long as like I still was able to gain from eating said crap, I could maybe try to like deal with the side effects or the symptoms. I mean, obviously that's not ideal because you feel like crap, but and then you get sick and you get lots of issues. But the problem with that, like insulin resistance and diabetes, is actually it inhibits you from gaining weight, because what happens is that you've got all of this glucose coming into your cells and from the food and the processed carbs and stuff that you're eating. And what happens is the insulin that's in your cells is the thing that takes the food and makes it into fat. It's kind of like it's kind of like if you want to think of it this way, it's kind of like you have a debit card and you're using your debit card to buy groceries, and the insulin is the machine that takes the money off of your debit card to let you purchase your groceries. Well, what happens in diabetics and people that are insulin resistant, that credit card machine no longer works. The cashier at the register is telling you to continue to swipe it, and in the meantime you're not getting your food, and you've got like 20 billion people behind you, like being pissed off, and Karen is like you know like pissed off because she wants her food, and you're taking forever at the credit card thing. And so it causes a problem. um, so I guess bringing it back to the whole gaining and encouraging thing, for me right now, and let me just say this: I loved everybody's encouragement of me. You know, I was 100. I know I've said this a few times. I was 170 pounds in 2003, 2004, and I am now like 480, 476, right around there. 476 on like a crappy day, and I'm like really like grateful for what I've done. Be able to get to this weight and continue to live and have a life is just really awesome. But I'm getting to the point where, due to age and whatever, where my body just isn't like, I can eat so much. Like this past week, I've actually started doing like a my fitness journal, well, my fatness journal diary, food diary of all the calories that I've eaten, and I literally have met my goals most of the days. I think there was one day I didn't miss any goal, didn't hit goals, and doing that. Now, I mean, obviously, you're not going to notice results in a week, but doing that, I love the experience, but I also have felt like absolute shit. um, I I've been kind of nauseous, and I checked my blood sugar throughout this experience. So I'm kind of running an experiment on myself, and surprisingly, it's not diabetic ranges, but it's kind of in the like higher normal, like what they call pre-diabetes, and it's like in the really upper normal. But like, I can continue that trend, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to result in weight gain because of the insulin resistance thing. Um, so, and it's funny because usually, people that are kind of, into like that, are into gaining, like, and if you have an illness, well, if you have an illness and you typically go to your doctor, right? Your doctor is going to go ahead and want to prescribe you something that is scientifically proven, that has gone through evidence, because they have to, per their license, per everything, which rightfully so, right? But, and they're also going off of the general consensus that they're going off of normal people's sexuality, normal people identity, like they are under the assumption that if you lose weight, your sexuality will increase, your testosterone will increase if you're a guy, you'll feel better, you'll want to have more sex, you'll want to, you're going to feel better in your body. So everything is geared towards that because that's the result of their research, because that is what 99.3% of the people in this world are like. But for people like us, gainers specifically, we're definitely different. Like, and I don't speak for all gainers. I speak for myself. But some of you are like muscle gainers and would lose weight and be perfectly happy, losing weight and being fine with that, and still find another facet of sexuality that you would be into. That is not me. For me, like, this is my sexuality. It's kind of like on the same spectrum of this is my sexual orientation. Um, but, I definitely like guys, so it's not really a sexual orientation. But it's kind of in that sort of bracket where this is an all or nothing thing for me. Like, whether I can keep gaining or maintaining and live out, being a big guy, or sexually that doesn't exist in my life and I need to shut off myself sexually, which I don't know. I've read in my limited psychology research that sexuality is required in humans of some sort. I mean, yeah, I guess I could get like some sort of weird mind therapy or something, but we're not going to go down that route because it's plainly just really insane. But long story short on that is that this is something that I require, at least. And if people want to accompany me on that journey, and really in reality want to help me make me big, I think the thing that I need is knowledge. Because so I'm a medical assistant. I've been practiced for a while because I've been, on the other side of the the desk per se of it on more the front end pieces. But with that knowledge I still have, and from going to school and getting my bachelor's and doing some medical coursework, I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of research on official websites. I've done research through endocrinology sites. I've talked to people. I've talked to my doctor that they're just like, don't know what to tell me. Um, and it's pretty disheartening to feel like this is the end and there's nothing anybody can do. It especially something that is important, at least to me. That might not be to you, because obviously you're not me, and that's fine. But I'm making this because some of you might have this problem, and some of you maybe have done research, and some of you maybe have talked to your doctors or a doctor yourself, and that can like point me in the right direction. Like, how can I make this work? Throughout the course of my research, there are two schools of thought. There's one school of thought that's a more old school in terms of insulin resistance. That's a more old school camp where they are saying you just need to eat more calories. You just need to eat more calories and move less, and that causes weight gain. But it didn't really matter whether you were eating carbs or not. Like, you just had to have more calories. And that is good for gainers, because if you have that and you're a gainer, you could eat things like good carbs, you can eat things like proteins, you can eat things that are healthier for you. And there's still, even though you have to eat more of those foods because they're not as calorie enriched as like processed carbs, there's still a way that you can gain. There absolutely is still a way you can gain. However, there's a second camp that has started kind of researching within the past decade or so that is coming up with a more glimmer response for gainers. And that glimmer response, and not intentionally for gainers, but just as a byproduct of the research, is that solely carbs cause weight gain. And so carbs also cause insulin resistance. So if you want to decrease your insulin resistance to allow your body to gain more weight, you therefore need to reduce your carbs. But your carbs are the things that allow you to gain weight. So you see where I'm going at here. That it is a zero-sum game, that if you have carbs, you will not gain weight. Or, sorry, if you don't have carbs, you will not gain weight. But having carbs increases your insulin resistance, thereby making it so you cannot take in the resources needed for your body to gain weight or maintain it. So you end up losing weight. So some of you might say, if you're still around, thank you. Some of you might be saying, like, why don't you just go to your doctor and talk to them about medications? And so I've thought of that. I've thought of insulin. I mean, insulin is expensive. It's like the cost of a monthly car payment. But if it would let me continue to live like this, I would do it. I would try to find a way. Fortunately, I don't have kids, which is good. I had to find a way somehow. But, there are other medications like Actos and metformin that can kind of help with that. But I know when I've talked to people, especially on metformin, they actually say it leads to weight loss. So I'm at this point where I do not want to give up. I will not give up because it's part of my sexuality. Like, this is what I am. This is what I do. I've went through therapy. I've talked to people. I don't meet the criteria for anything related to like anything on the DSM, like, which is the manual that doctors use to like diagnose mental health disorders. I don't have body dysmorphia because I don't meet certain criteria for that. And then this is linked to my sexuality, but sexuality isn't a mental disorder. If there's just all of these things that I do not meet any of the criteria for. So like, well, you're not sick. And I'm like, okay, well, that leads me to believe that this is something that I just need to try to fix or incorporate into my life. So, all this to be said, I want to just go back and say that a few wrap ups here. One, I absolutely love gaining, and I will never stop trying to do it, even if I'm like on my deathbed. Like, this is part of who I am. Two, if you have any, this is most important, if you have any ideas that might be able to help me, please let me know. If you were a diabetic and you had any success with any treatment that a doctor gave you that allowed you to gain weight, I want to know about it. I want to hear your experience. That is the thing I think that is going to let me navigate this and continue to try to gain in some facet or reality, or even just maintain my weight. And three, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that everybody that's in my life that has supported me. I've developed so many friendships and so many relationships throughout this community. This community is like really like one of the core and central beings to my support system. I mean, most if not all my friends are from here, or they're allies of the community. You know, they're I mean, there's just so much like that I'm just so grateful for, you know, in terms of support. Um, so yeah, no, I just thank you all from like the bottom of my cholesterol laden heart. You know, like uh, I I couldn't imagine in 2004 being this big, being where I'm at today, and having as many friends and connections as I do now. People that watch this channel, people that read my posts, people that are interested in me in the slightest. Like, I don't view myself as anything great or wonderful, you know, and the fact that people like me and want to help me get bigger, it's just a really cool thing. So thank you for that, you know, like, but I need to find a way to make this continue, and I just am at a loss, and I'm frustrated. I'm very frustrated because it's something that has always been a part of my life that I've never been able to really figure out. um, and you know, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. So at any rate, if you stayed through this video, thank you for watching or listening. But that is really what's going on right now. You know, and give you guys a little peek as to where I'm at now with everything. So, like I said, I lost a little bit, but yeah, it's been a tough last month or so. So there you have it. I love all of this. I don't want to lose it. I'm going to just keep having it grow, but my body is an asshole. So, at any rate, thanks for watching. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for hearing me ramble. And I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. Bye.